Hare Krishna. So thank you all for going through the module 2 called Knowing the Divine. I just thought that before we move on to the third module, like earlier, let us kind of like look over what we have seen in this whole series or this section. So we came to a discussion that does really the Supreme exist? We started off with understanding the existence of a divine, existence of a universal power, power which is not happening by chance, which is not happening without any intelligence. But we saw how just by looking at the nature around us, just by actually strongly thinking, like Lord Kelvin says, if you strongly think, right, you'll be convinced by science to believe in a supreme. So by looking at all the different nature and things around us, we agree that there is a lot of intelligence which are existing in this world. And therefore this intelligence point to an intelligent personality who has created all this. Nothing can come by chance. We also saw different chance theories of creation. For example, the Big Bang theory and also Darwin's theory. How just things kind of like happen on its own, developed on its own, evolved on its own, and just on its own. So all this points to no intelligence, all this points to just a fluke, just a chance in life, how things turn out, right? And then we also saw, what about the nature of this divine, this supreme? Where did the supreme come from? And we looked to an analogy of a train, how the train's engine is itself empowering or has its own power. Similarly, Lord is that who has his own power. We saw that his nature should be one who is supremely the controller, supremely the enjoyer, and supremely the owner of everything. And therefore we saw that there can only be one supreme, one divine, right? One God, as they may say. A rose of any name smells the same. In the very last fourth part of this module, we kind of question that how we can actually come to know this divine, this supreme. Because if we are going to worship and surrender and even actually learn to serve and love that supreme, we need to know. How can we love someone or know someone if we do not know entirely, or at least to a degree a lot about that person? So similarly, how can we know? Well, before that, we saw that we have a lot of deficiencies. We have a lot of defects. Our senses are imperfect, and because of that, we get illusioned, right? And because of that, we make mistakes. And because of that, just to cover our mistakes, we start cheating, lying, speculating even. So therefore, to trust our own senses in seeing and understanding is not very solid of an evidence. And therefore, what is the alternative? The Vedas or the Shastras presents itself as a huge compendium, a huge library of knowledge, covering things of the future, covering things of the past. The Vedas itself acts like a map to give us direction through life. It acts as a manual on how to use this body and this life properly. It also acts as a medicine to help us when in times of difficulty from our body, mind, emotions, when we are down, when we need encouragement, we need motivation, we need to get rid of the ailments and sicknesses of this life, all kinds, physical, mental. So the Vedas provide these solutions. And therefore, right now we're going to take a small pause, and we're not going to go more into the topic of the divine. But in the next module, we're going to now talk about ourselves. Understanding a generic idea of the Supreme, let us now take a pause and come and to understand who we are. And then later, once understanding who we are in proper, we will go back and explore more aspects of this divine. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you in module 3, which is going to be called Who Am I? Hare Krishna.